What do you guys want to talk about?
Let me talk to you.
Yeah!
Throwdown Nation, we are live. It is a Friday night. We are rolling on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter/X, Facebook, and Twitch. It is episode 190 of the Throwdown. We are 10 away from 200. The Throwdown, where we celebrate the art and sport of professional wrestling with a strong focus on the indies. I'm your host, Matt, and today is going to be a blast. We are throwing down with a newly Atlanta-based wrestler, Dallas Dash. And aside from wrestling, Dallas is also a content creator, a musician, and a Renaissance man. We'll be getting into all of that. How you doing tonight, Dallas?
Oh man, the sky and the ceiling, man. I am great. How are you feeling though, Matt? It's been too long, man.
Like I said before we went live, man, I have been looking forward to this all week, and this is going to be a good time. And for those of you that are joining us live, let me direct your attention to the ticker that's running on the bottom of the screen. That contains all or at least most of Dallas's social media accounts along with mine. So do us a favor, if you aren't a follower or subscriber, take the time and go to each of the platforms and do so. It definitely helps both of us.
Yes.
And any questions or comments you guys have, just throw them in the chat and we'll either handle them as we go or do a little Q&A at the end. And it looks like we're already getting some activity. We've got Goth on Twitch saying hello. We've got some folks from Facebook. We've got UK Paul. We've got the whole CCP gang, Harry's wifey, everybody. Everybody is turning out. So we'll go ahead and get started with the first and the most obvious question because we're a wrestling related show. And that is, how long have you been wrestling?
Oh man, let's get into it. So well, first off, I am 24 years old. I'll be 25 this May. I have been training since I was about 8 years old. Uh, I have been wrestling since I was 18. Got my L's, my wrestling license in Virginia at 18, and I've been doing it ever since. So this is year number 7 for me. Big lucky 7.
Nice, nice. So who actually trained you?
Back home in Virginia, I trained under Round One Wrestling, or better known as Hampton Roads Championship Wrestling, and I was trained by none other than my father, William O. Deloach III, and I was trained by mixed martial arts guru Kevin Weston. And like I got different, training sources from other people, throughout my career. So yeah, I owe it to a lot of people. Can't really get into everybody's names, but Kevin Weston and my dad is the main people who trained me. So
Gotcha.
yeah.
So that had to be in some ways a thrill, and in some ways I'm sure it was a more difficult journey than most training under your father.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was. I would say it got tough at times, because he just wanted the best out of me.
Right.
Being that I'm a second generation wrestler, so all the training that, like I said, like I tell everybody, training back then was way different from like training now, right?
It is,
And
yeah.
yeah, so like he had the hard knocks, so he trained like the hard knock way.
Old school. Yeah.
Yeah. So it was definitely tough for sure. But I was cut, man. I was cut. I was tough. And this is something that I actually really wanted to do and pursue for a long time. So I knew for a fact that, if I wanted to get to where I'm at now, I gotta put in that work, and back then. So it was tough, but I got through it for sure.
Absolutely. So you were kind of raised in the business from what it sounds like.
Yeah.
But in terms of the early portions of your training, when you actually started training, what would you say was the most challenging aspect of professional wrestling for you to kind of wrap your mind and body around? And when you started training, did anything about the training surprise you?
Well, I was a little young lad training with guys who are older than me. So that the hardest part about training was just me being so young and training with them guys and them guys being all built and me getting body slammed and freaking fire, like everything back then was just so more tough for me, but it made me better now because now when I'm 5'8", 175 going up against 350, 6'6", like it just that's what it helped me out. So I would say the hardest part, like at a young age, was just going through those beatings. But like I said, that's just what it had to be, in order for me to get to this point now. So yeah, and I would say the hardest part about learning the business at a young age was how to keep up with your body, like especially being that young, being smaller. It was like how do I keep up with my body? That was the main question, you know going a long way down the line from then to now. How can I keep up with my body? That was the hardest part about training at a young age.
Gotcha. Gotcha. It's been interesting recently watching another young guy who got started in his training also at a pretty young age, and that's Mr. Javon Evans.
Yeah.
I mean, um, to see somebody who is only 21 years old but has been in the business since he was 13,
Yeah.
and have come as far as he has come in such a short span of time has just really been cool.
Yeah.
And so I see the same types of things happening for you, man. And I definitely cling to that. Knowing what I know about you, I think you have the potential to go incredibly far in all of this. So, we had talked a little bit about this before we went on the air, but coming into wrestling, like you said, you'd been training since a fairly young age. But do you have other athletic background? Like, did you play other sports? Did you do martial arts? All of that good stuff. Tell us a bit about your athletic background.
Yeah, man. I all throughout my life, at a young age, playing basketball. Middle school was the first time I was, able to play contact sports, and I played football. I got into a little bit of tennis. A lot of people don't know that about me, but yes, Dash does play tennis. Um, yeah, man. Every sport that you could possibly think of, I wanted to do it, and I definitely you know, somewhat succeeded at some things, somewhat not succeeded at some things. So it was just all about figuring out, I didn't really choose professional wrestling until like I had, the mindset like, okay, this is what I want to do. But yeah, sports for sure. Sports was a big part of my life growing up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, obviously you've been, like we said, you've kind of grown up in the business with you being second generation and all that. So what would you say is your earliest wrestling related memory?
Ooh, that's good. Um, so my one of my first rings that I've trained in wasn't even a wrestling ring. It was a boxing ring. And if anybody knows what a boxing ring feels like, it's very hard in the middle. And the softest spot in the middle of a wrestling ring, yeah, the softest spot in the is the middle basically of a wrestling ring. So yeah, it was really hard. That's probably my earliest memory of training, like training inside of a boxing ring. Just imagine what those bumps felt like. Like it was brutal, man. It was brutal. It definitely beat me up, but like I said, it made me a lot tougher. So
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
But what would you say is your earliest wrestling related memory as a fan?
Ooh, as a fan, uh, shoot. So of course, Dad took us to, WWE. Whenever they came to the Scope in Norfolk, Virginia. But like that right there was just just living out a childhood memory. I mean, living out a childhood fantasy, I would say, to just go to a WWE event. It was really great. Like I said, back then I was watching wrestling, but I didn't really get into it around the time frame of Cena, Triple H, Undertaker, Kofi Kingston, all them boys. But I would say my earliest wrestling related memory as far as an indie show, it was one day where me and my dad, we had went to go eat breakfast, and we met this guy now that I know as one of my favorite people in the freaking world, Diamond Victor Griff. And he had told us, he like, yo, I got this show, trying to sell a ticket. And we had ended up going to that show that weekend, and it was just pretty cool seeing it like live in your face, like being that close to a wrestling ring, and just not knowing who the characters was, but just seeing some good action. And I think that's what kind of made my dad get into it, but that's what also made me like, man, this is pretty cool, man. This is something that I could potentially see myself like getting into, not even doing it for a very long time, but just getting into it. So yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, I just threw a comment from Goth up on the screen saying you're our Super Dallas.
Yeah, man. Shout out golf, man. Shout out golf.
So, and looking over at the chat on Instagram, we've got a few people. Actually, recent guest, a musician and comedian by the name of Jason Drew, actually is in the chat and says hello to both of us.
Yeah,
He is a really terrific human being.
that's what's up, man.
So, we talked a little bit about this before before we went on the air,
Yeah.
and your reputation kind of precedes you, and you apparently have quite the story. As in, by medical standards, from what I'm hearing, you shouldn't even be here. So tell us the tale. What all happened?
So just to give you a quick like summary. Um, when I was born without fluid on the brain, which basically caused them to run a couple procedures on me. I had 7 surgeries at birth, including brain tumor surgery, open heart through the back. I had 3 hernia removals and a couple of other surgeries that I don't know because I was at birth.
Right.
And basically the tube that they put in my head, it leads all the way from my head all the way down to my body, and it's called a shunt. All right, a shunt is a medical device that they put inside you in order to move fluid through the body, without
Mhm.
any cause of that. So yeah, I had it right, and when I was 5, the tube had snapped. I was in school and I had fell off the monkey bars, being a kid, and I had to
Yeah.
get rushed to the emergency room to have it reconstructive surgery. And like I said, God, got me through all that. The surgery and stuff went great, and they had basically put a longer tube in me, and in order to grow with me, as I got older, and got taller and bigger. So, yeah, man, that was just God, and it's so crazy. I got another cool fact for you. The guy, the doctor who did the reconstructive surgery We
Mhm.
cannot find him in none of the files today, as we speak. So I only think of one person that could have saved my life at 5 years old, and that's God.
Absolutely. You know, that's an angels among us type of story right there. That's wild.
Yeah.
Uh,
So
so you know, at this point, do you have any medical restrictions as far as what you can or can't do?
man, I like I said, I had reconstructive surgery at 5. I got into the ring when I was 8 years old. I've been wrestling ever since then. I have had no restrictions, no anything that can cause me to, you know, for it to snap again, for anything. Like I said, I go into every match and every show, every event that I do, the same mindset. Like, dude, if I go out, if I go out like that, like, dude, that's everything I could possibly. I done lived out everything that I wanted to do, and still things that I want to do in this industry. But look, I cannot ask for a better life than what I done had. So I go into every match with the same mindset, and that's a lot of questions that people ask me, like, how do you feel? Like, do you feel nervous about it doing what is? And I'm just like, no, bro. I'm like, no, dude. I feel the same way every time I go into that ring and I do what I do. I do it for the love of the sport and the industry. I do it to entertain them fans. I do it to, bless my family with everything that they could possibly ask for from me. So it's just like, dude, I love wrestling. And I will go out there and put my body on the line every single time because I'm blessed. I'm blessed to even just be here and walking and talking to you and meeting everybody. So dude, I live life with no regrets. So
Absolutely.
uh,
So, you know, you were obviously just mentioning, you know, God and your faith. So, you
yeah.
know, obviously, you are also a man of faith. So, tell us a bit about your faith journey. Were you raised in a Christian home,
Oh yeah, man.
and you know, basically, tell us about your relationship with God and how it's deepened over the years and all of that. Uh, let's hear about that.
Yeah, man. One thing about it, I'm always real with people. I'm always real with, my family, my friends, my fans. I would say now. Back then, everything wasn't peaches and cream. Of course, you go through the motions of being a kid, being a teenager, and doing all that. But yeah, my relationship with God is definitely deepened. And yes, I did come from a Christian household. My mom used to take us to church every Sunday. Used to make us get up to go to church, and we hated it. But when we got there, we loved it because we was able to connect, more with not only people but God Himself. And I would say like now, yeah, man, I'm so close. I'm so close with him because like I said, I didn't got to a point now in my career, in my life where, I gotta talk to him. I gotta, ask why, even when he doesn't, do things right there in the moment for me. When I do go to him, I just know for a fact that he puts me in positions, whether if it's good or bad, to let me know like, hey, you're doing this right, not doing something right. So yeah, man, I definitely, grown to, talk to him a lot more. So yeah, that's my yeah, I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I love God and I love talking to him. I love going to him.
Absolutely.
Uh,
So, you know, we had mentioned at the start that you're also a musical artist. I mean, you
uh,
truly are kind of like I said, a Renaissance man. You've sort of got your hands in a lot of different areas.
yeah.
So, tell us a bit about the musical side of Dallas Dash. You know, you mentioned that you do some singing and some rapping. Do you play any instruments? Tell us
uh,
all about the musical side of you.
yeah, man. So a lot of y'all don't know this, but before we started this, Matt was saying like he played the guitar and the bass, and I'm like, dude, I want to learn that so bad. I want to learn how to play guitar. I want to learn how to play bass. I know how to play the drums. Yeah, it's really great. Um, and I don't know the voice, singing wise. I have an amazing voice. A lot of people tell me I have an amazing voice. I don't think so. I'm not real confident in myself, but a lot of people tell me I do. It was just a gift from God. Like I told you, man, music is just a way for me to express my feelings and my emotions, and just give me another creative mindset. When it comes to not only writing music, but also doing a promo for wrestling, or like I said, shaping that to make this better. So yeah, no, music is just a hobby for sure that that I love to do on a regular basis, to keep me sharp on my mic skills and promo things when it comes to wrestling. So yeah.
Gotcha. So, away from wrestling, what are some of your other hobbies and interests?
Oh man. Shoot, it's a lot, man. I'm a very like outgoing person. I love, going out, like just to explore. Like, I mean, of course, I work, but outside of work, I mean, shoot, we can go to the movies. We can go do some arcade. We can go to the amusement park. Like I'm with it all, man. Like I'm just a very fun person. Like I'm a very fun person. I have my times where I'm to myself, and I like to have kumbaya moments. But like I'm a very outgoing person, man. I just love to explore new things. So yeah, man, I'm all over.
Gotcha. So, like I said, we're mostly a wrestling related show, but we do dabble a little bit into pop culture. And
Yeah.
I'm always looking for recommendations. So by any chance, are you watching or listening to anything really cool right now?
Um, Shoot, am I watching or listening to something any cool right now? Anything cool right now? No. So I just okay. I got one recommendation. I just went to go see this movie, and
Okay.
the movie was called Primate. It's in theaters. You can go see it. You can.
I've seen the commercials for it. Is it good?
It was 10 out of 10 recommend, man. It was a really good movie. Um, I wish it had a little more, but it was really great for what I seen from the preview, and I recommend anybody going to see Primate. So Primate, yeah, 10 out of 10, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So another topic that sort of is outside of wrestling, but away from wrestling, what person inspires you the most and why?
It's a lot. It's a lot. But one person that inspires me more than anybody is my mom. All right. And like I said, some of those events that y'all see me at, and y'all see her and she be all spontaneous and stuff. Yeah, like she's my inspiration. She came from absolutely, I won't say nothing, but she started from the bottom and she worked her way all the way up to the top, and she's definitely a big inspiration in my life now. Like definitely want to be like her for sure when I grow up. She's a retired military vet. She then was a cop, was a firefighter. She then dibble dabbled in a lot of different career paths, and this like she's superwoman. I got Superman on my shirt, but she's definitely superwoman for sure. That's my biggest inspiration to just go out here and do what I do, and not have no type of restriction on my life. Like I just yeah, I want to be like my mom.
That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, man.
So you mentioned that you're originally from Virginia.
Yeah.
Um, what is your favorite thing about Virginia?
Busch Gardens. If y'all don't know what Busch Gardens is in Water Country, that's like literally my favorite thing about my hometown. I mean, I was born and raised in Norfolk, but I lived in Williamsburg, and that's where my other promotion was. But dude, I used to live at freaking Busch Gardens in Water Country. It's amusement park, water park. I love just doing that. Like that was my weekends. Like what my weekends consisted of. So
That's interesting. I actually did not know there was a Busch Gardens in Virginia.
Okay.
I knew about the one in Florida, but I did
Yeah.
not know there was one in Virginia. That's
Yeah.
a
No.
fun fact.
Busch Gardens, but you got Busch Gardens is literally right here, and then Water Country is like right there. So they're right beside each other, but they're not. You got to drive at least like 5 minutes up the road for Water Country. But yeah, no, that Busch Gardens, Williamsburg is in Virginia. So
Gotcha, gotcha. And as we mentioned, you're kind of a new transplant to Atlanta.
yeah,
Um, so far, what is your favorite thing about Atlanta?
just being home, being home and being home, being in the household, and just like I said, it's so much opportunity out here to build yourself up and just go out here and do what you do. Is being home is probably the best part about being here in Georgia. Like I've been here before. I had my first kind of break here, I would say, at 18. Having my first match outside of Virginia was here in Georgia. And yeah, that just being home, man, I feel such more of a vibe like here, man. It's Virginia is great. I love Virginia. But Georgia kind of, got me, a couple more opportunities that I wouldn't have got back home. So yeah.
Absolutely. So, they say that the best wrestling personas are usually pretty much yourself turned up to 1,000.
Yeah.
So kind of tell us about the in-ring Dallas Dash persona and kind of compare and contrast him with Everyday Will.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know, man. Dash is like he's a freak of nature, man. Like the things that Dash does in the ring, like you would never expect when he comes out. Like when you come out, Dash got the cowboy hat, got the chaps, got the jackets. Like I think that one main part, like just the flashiness of Dallas Dash, I think that's me in real life. Will, that is me. I love to dress up. I love to, you know, throw on little fits, here and there. So I mean, it's that's just the comparison between Dash and Will. Other than that, man, Dash is you would never expect Dash to do the things that he does inside that ring, unless you just haven't, touched up. That's why every promo, man, I always tell people to do their research, man, because that dude he's an animal for real.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So tell us about your very first match. What was it
Ooh.
like? How did it go? What were your thoughts? Let's hear about the first one.
So okay, I will before I actually had my first match, I was doing a couple like training matches. But I
Hmm.
will tell you about the first time, like me coming to Atlanta my first ever indie show, like my first ever indie show, legit indie show, was here in Georgia. I had came from Virginia. I had moved here for a little bit, and me and my mom we were sitting down, and I told her I'm like I want to wrestle. Like I want to continue to wrestle and do this. And she was just like, okay, it's either that or college or we were just sitting there just contemplating like, hey, what we gonna do. So we hit up Atlanta Wrestling Entertainment here in Georgia, and Murder One. That's my guy. And we literally, was chatting back and forth. And he was like, "Hey, this weekend we have, a training session, to come on and let's see what you got. Just bring your gear." And I was like, "Okay." So brought my gear, got my mom. We had took a road trip to downtown Atlanta at the 5-star Marriott. And when we got there, we had went into the front door and had this big old sign. It was like Southern Fried Gaming Convention. It was like, where am I at? Like, I'm thinking I'm going to a training facility. I'm thinking I'm going to, just do what I do. And they gave us these passes. We had went up the escalator or whatever, and then my mind was like, okay, we're at a show. Like it just didn't hit me until I actually seen the ring. And once I seen the ring, I met Murda. He took me in the back. He met all the guys. And that in that moment, I'm just like, man, this is it. This is what is about to happen. And I ended up wrestling the champ, CB Suave. He is retired now and he works for the Savannah Bananas. So that's pretty dope. Um, and so we went over the match or whatever. I was so nervous. I had forgot my freaking other kick pad at the house. So like I had different matching kick pads, like different like kick pads on. And when he went out first, the crowd was booing him, and it didn't really hit me yet. Cause I like the crowd was so many people out there, but I didn't even hear none of that because I was just so nervous, man. And then when I went out, um, it just all hit me at that moment in front of literally 1,000, 2,000 people in a ballroom. And I went out there, 18 years old, green bean, fresh, and I put on I would say a heck of a match. But just that moment, man, was just so crazy because I would have never expected to first do my first match in front of that many people. And then on top of that, just, being that moment and being at a show like that, to where, people cheering you on, not even knowing who you are, not knowing you from a can of paint, and just being in that moment was so special, man, to me. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
So, we've heard about the first one. Now, if you can narrow it down, tell us about your favorite match that you've been a part of.
yeah, man, I got a couple. I got a couple. We'll
Okay.
go through some of them. Shoot, so in 2022, I was able to do my first like real big indie show in Memphis, Tennessee, at Nation of Championship Wrestling. And on that card, I'm gonna tell you who's on that card. On that card, you had Del Rio. You had Chris Masters, Austin Aries, EC3, um, and I was able to wrestle Hunter Havoc. That was a great match. I did a show in Ripley, Tennessee. That was against, I can't even think of his name, but that show had freaking Chase Owens from the Bullet Club on it. Dope
Oh yeah.
experience. Yeah, no, and me and him chopped it up a little bit. We had took a picture, and that was a pretty special moment for me. Um, I had wrestled my dad in a father and son Russian chain match, and that was one of my favorite matches. Um, I just had a recent match that was dope. 2024, I think 2024. I wrestled Chris Lade. I don't know if you know who that is, but that was one of my favorite matches. And then this past match, man, in Orlando, Florida, this past November against my boy AK-47, Elias Roman. So
Yeah.
that was yeah, no, that was a pretty fun match, man. Those probably some of my favorite matches. Like,
Gotcha.
yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah, not too terribly long ago, I had the pleasure actually of having Austin Aries on the show, and he is an interesting guy.
yeah, man. Yes,
Just getting to kind of sit down and chew the fat with him, man, was an honor. I mean,
yeah,
that guy's been there and done that,
yeah,
and yeah, that was very very cool.
yeah, no, man.
So, you've been doing this long enough that I'm sure you've developed some of these. But what would you say is your biggest wrestling related pet peeve?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Thank you.
Um, a pet peeve, a wrestling pet peeve.
Yeah.
Uh, the crazy part about it is I've never been into a shoot. If y'all know what a shoot is, y'all know for a fact. When things get real. I always
Hmm.
I always try to be safe. I always try to be safe. I done had a couple people injure me. I done injured a couple people at a young age, but I feel like now over time, like I've learned how to control things in a match, and like I said, because at the end of the day, you're working with your opponent to entertain that crowd. Like that is the main goal of that. So like whenever you're not working with your opponent, I feel like that's the biggest pet peeve. Like just you have to work with your opponent, whether if you know he's been doing it 1 year, whether he's been doing it 10 years. Like you have to work with your opponent in order to make, the main goal, the biggest thing of that match. So yeah, that's probably the biggest pet peeve. Just not working with, people. Like, and people not working with you. So
Absolutely.
yeah.
So, as I have done myself over these last few months, you've kind of entered into an ongoing collaboration with my brother from another mother, Chris Page at CCP Podcasting. So tell us kind of about that and what kind of stuff are you and Chris cooking up?
Oh man, I can't even. I gotta keep quiet, man. I can't even. I will give you this. I will give you this. CP. I met CP on the in October when we did the CCP podcast for the first time, and ever since then, like we've been like this, man. We've been locked in, and I feel like it was just the presence from both parties, and he definitely got me my, like I said, my first national break in Orlando. Going to down to Orlando to go do chapter one Genesis, and that was his first time seeing me actually like live in full effect, and that was just a moment because like after that we was still like this. We probably was even tighter than that. So um yeah, and then it grew to family. Like the Kristen came through that front door to come and visit me, and he met my mom, and we all sat down, had conversations about just this, how this year gonna go, and it's just been a relationship that yeah, we have business side, but we also got a personal side, man. That's my dog, and he has got me to a point where he motivated me to get back to this and do it at the highest levels. So I don't. Oh, look, there
What's
he
up,
is.
man? How you
There
doing,
he
brother?
is, man.
How are you, man?
Oh man,
What's up?
what's up, big dog?
Sitting back, listening to you have a good time here, brother. And I needed to pop in because
What's up, man?
I
I was just talking trash about you, dude.
I know, man. I heard every bit of it. You son of a bitch. Um, no, brother. Listen, I when I knew that this was coming together, obviously. First of all, hey Matt, how's it going, brother?
Man, I'm doing great.
Sorry, I was being rude, and I was being rude to your audience as well. I apologize. Throwdown Nation, how we doing, guys? It's been a hot minute.
Absolutely, man. Uh, Chris and I have been working on making this happen. Him doing a surprise run in on your on your episode, man. We have been looking forward to this because, man, this whole collaboration has just been amazing, and and I feel like it's been such a situation that is benefiting all of us. So
It is. Reality is this, Dallas. I needed to come in here tonight because there's a lot, man. There's a lot that you just don't know. You know as well as I do, Matt. We've had this conversation privately. I've said it a million times over. People are put in people's lives for a reason. You just have to figure out what those reasons are. And for me, in our relationship, Dallas, I figured out what that reason was pretty quickly. And in the process, I wanted to first come on and just tell you how proud I am of you and how far
Appreciate
you've come. You and I know where you were when we first spoke, to where you are now. And I secondly want to thank you for just being you. And as you know, we have a tour coming up across 3 cities in 2026. The graphic, first of all, dummy, I didn't send it to you to send it out and put it on social media. I sent it to you so you could confirm it. But since you confirmed it by putting it out on social media, I wanted to come in and kind of tell you what your schedule is. And I know that we've had some private conversations, and with you specifically, it's really building your confidence and getting you back to where we all know you can be, right? And in order to do that, I know that we got to get you in there and get you in there with some people. And I know that I told you what I thought your schedule was going to be. I was lying because I didn't want you to know what your schedule was going to be until I could come on here and tell you what it is. So are you ready to really find out what we're going to do for 2026?
You man, you dude. All right, let's go. I'm gonna try to brace myself for this. You're gonna make it.
Throwdown Nation, you're about to get a lot of exclusive information, and all of this is 100% confirmed. So there's no deviation. This is what I've got for you for 2026, and I want you to understand that this came because of what I saw in Orlando. We had a really good conversation on Beyond the Bell, but what won me over, not only just you as a person and how you are and how you handle things, it was the little things that you were doing in the ring, and I really focus a lot on the small things because the small things lead to big things. There were moments throughout that show where the opportunities were there for people, and they, it didn't click. But with you, there were several that did. You know what they are. I'm not going to bore you with that, nor take more of your time than I have to on your show here. I'm sorry.
Gotcha.
But we're headed to Southern California. So Chapter 2. Fun fact: Dallas is headed over to our friends with One Division Pro to challenge for their heavyweight championship, and will not be with us at Chapter 2, but was going to be. Chapter 3. Dallas, I know I told you there was a battle royal. That's not happening. As you and I know, we have an issue with a gentleman that goes by the Bar Time Brawler, Chuck Mercer. So you will be taking on Chuck Mercer on March 28th in Chatsworth, and on March 27th. By the way, you know that you have Kodo Hero, which is another big one. I'm going to be in your corner for that match with Chuck Mercer because I don't trust the dude, and if he pulls out some knucks, I want to be there to pop him in the face. I know that you want a piece of that. I'm going to run through the opponents, and then you can tell me what's up and what you're thinking when we get through with it. Okay?
Yeah.
All right. Chapter 4, Legends Rise. You're already qualified for our championship tournament. I can tell you that your opponent will qualify in Southern California on March 28th. And I'm not going to disclose those names just yet. That announcement will come soon.
Gotcha.
All right, moving forward. If you win the championship, consider this all championship matches until something happens and you're not champion. We have a collaboration show with One Division Pro in May the 16th. You're currently scheduled to take on Jake Redondo out of Southern California, Primal Pro Wrestling, Millennium Pro Wrestling.
Oh, that's gonna be crazy.
In June the 20th, in our San Antonio debut, you're gonna get in the ring with JT Mattioli.
Oh, save your tears for the day.
Absolutely. At Chapter 7 in Orlando, Florida, we will be having our qualifying matches for our Florida Openweight Championship, and you will be getting into the ring in a qualifying match against Terry Kidd. You don't know who that is, but I'm telling you, it's going to be fire.
Okay.
In Chatsworth. So I told you I had a call with Chicago. I didn't have a call with Chicago. I had a call with California. And when we returned to Southern California, someone wants to have a match with you. And I couldn't tell them no. So we're gonna go back to Southern California, and you're gonna go one-on-one with Danny Devine. When we
I'm gonna hit that's crazy. I'm gonna hit him up as soon as we done. Be like, yo, you are a mess, man. That is crazy. No, man, that is wicked, yo.
So we'll come back in October to Orlando, and if you qualify for the Florida Openweight Championship, there will be a four-way elimination match that you'll be a part of. If you do not qualify, I have an opponent for you. I will not tell you who that is right this second. Moving into San Antonio on our return. And this is something that I really thought about when it comes to you, brother. And the only way that you get better is if you wrestle better. And the only way that you get better is if you get in the ring with people who are obviously better than you, have more experience than you, have been in places that you've not been into.
Right.
So when I got dates on this guy, I knew that one of them was going to be used on you. And for me, it's a pretty big deal. And for what we're trying to do, it's a pretty big deal. I announced earlier today that we secured dates for with the National Wrestling Alliance, former NWA television champion, former NWA national champion. He's big and he's strong. He goes by the name of Mims.
Let's do
We're
it,
going to get in the
man.
ring with Mims in November, and in December, barring you're not, and if you're carrying a championship at that point, it'll be a title match. And if you're not carrying a championship or you're not in the title picture at that point, at the end of the year in Orlando, you will challenge for our guy. You'll challenge for the World Heavyweight Championship. So sorry, did not mean to come on in and spoil a whole lot for everybody, but I wanted you to know that that we value you, brother. Right?
And, this is why I work. This is why I put in the work. This is why I come on here and I do these things, and I'm blessed. I'm blessed, and I'm grateful to be in the opportunities that I'm to been getting and that I've been doing. And dude, I don't take anything for granted. Me and Matt, we having a conversation of just about that conversation, how people, say, hey, look, how do you go into every match? No, this is the reasons why I do what I do, and I love to do what I do. And trust me, everything that you just said and everything that's gonna be brought upon this year, I'm gonna capitalize on everything, and I put that on everything. So that's gonna be fun. It's
Well,
gonna be a
I
good.
have one question for you, and I have to know: are you wearing a fucking Superman onesie?
Yeah, man. Look, hold on.
Okay.
Look. Yeah. And not only that, look,
it's a full onesie. All right.
Yeah, man.
I'm not mad at you, but I just had to know. Matt, I do appreciate you giving me some time to come in and run through that. What are you thinking, man?
Absolutely, man. I'm, you're welcome here anytime, brother. And, like you were saying, God puts people in our paths for a reason. And like you said, sometimes figuring out the reason is half the fun. But yeah, man, Dallas, you're something special, brother. And I'm just excited that these kind of opportunities are materializing for you, and like Chris was saying, iron sharpens iron, and the best way to get really good is reps and reps with people that are at or above where you are, and all it's going to do is just continue to hone the natural ability and natural talent that you have into something undeniable.
That means a lot, man. Thank you so much. That definitely means so much for me, Matt.
Well, I am going to let you guys finish your interview.
You get out.
I'm going to go now. I did what I needed to do. Matt, thank you so much. Dallas,
absolutely, man.
I appreciate you. And I want this to serve to anyone out there on the independent scene that if you're out there and you put in the work, like, somebody will give you a chance. And we've been hit up by a lot of different people, and while I can't give everyone opportunities, I can give those opportunities to those that that are out there and that are hustling and that I do think, have an awful lot of potential. What we're doing in 2026 is just laying some groundwork for what's to come in 2027. And you're a big piece of it. So, Matt, again, I appreciate it. Do I just hit the leave button? Is that how I go?
Yeah, or I mean, I can turn you off.
Yeah, just boot him. Get him out of here.
Yeah. See you,
Bye,
Chris.
Yeah,
So,
man, that was crazy.
So, in terms of your in-ring work and your promos,
Yes.
who would you say are some of your influences? Who would you say have kind of helped shape Dallas into who he is?
I got a lot of inspirations, man, from just speaking and talking on the mic. My dad, he could talk really good. Shoot, like just people who I grew up with in the industry, like guys who used to just mentor me or even help me out with a couple things. They could talk really good on the mic, and I think just being around it so much, I picked up on a lot of things. Like, and then as far as in ring skills, um, one of my biggest inspirations is young, like just watching growing up. Of course, Ricochet. That is like that is top notch. Like, just he's so underrated to me, and like that dude, he's a workhorse, man. Like all the things from PWG to just wrestling international.
Mhm.
Yeah, like he's one of them ones. So that was a big inspiration for me. And just on the main stage back then, um, I would say Tyson Kidd. Tyson Kidd had a big impact on my childhood too. Like just watching him growing up, and yeah, no, though I think those was the like main two WWE and indies growing up that I used to just watch all the time. So yeah, that was my main two in ring skill sets right there. So
Gotcha.
yeah,
Speaking of Ricochet, this run that he's on right now in AEW,
yeah,
man,
man.
he has finally kind of come into his own as a talker.
Yeah,
He's always been amazing in the ring, but his mic skills were always a little, a little behind where he was as far as an in-ring talent. But man, he is really putting it all together right now, and I love seeing it.
yeah, man. When you get that creative freedom, I
Yep.
I know when you get to the WWE, you gotta follow suit, which is not bad at all right? Because
No.
you at the highest level, of professional wrestling. So when you get there, you gotta follow suit. But just stepping back down into, a level that you can have creative freedom, like this, you start to figure out things about yourself. So I mean,
Yep.
he's like you said, he's doing way better than I feel like he's doing way better than he was. So yeah.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So, do you have an all-time favorite match as a fan?
Yeah,
Is there a
man.
match? Is there a match that just really speaks to your heart?
Yeah. ECW, I think it was One Night Stand. I think it was either '05 or '06. Chris Jericho versus Lance Storm. One of the craziest matches ever.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and Lance Storm is another one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So just the fact that he got the chance to go up against Chris Jericho, that match was so crazy. That
oh
match
yeah.
was insane. So yeah, that's one of my favorite matches. One of my favorite WrestleMania matches of all time. Um, Shoot, it's a lot of them, but I would probably go. um, I'll probably go Michaels and Hogan. Michaels
Yeah.
and Hogan was a great freaking match. Oh no, that was SummerSlam. No, Michaels and Flair. I'm sorry, Jesus, my freaking wrestling
Um,
history. Yeah,
now,
Michaels and Flair. Michaels and Flair at WrestleMania 25 was great. No, not 25. It was. I think that was no. That
you're
was
talking about the retirement match, right?
Iron match. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
25. He fought
where
Taker at 25. No, yeah, Michaels
yeah,
and Flair though at WrestleMania was a really great match.
yeah, where Michaels basically gave Flair the old Yeller treatment.
Yeah, man, that it was hard.
Put
It
him
was
down.
definitely it was definitely heartbreaking, but I felt like he was the only one that could have put him out of his misery like that, man. So nobody else
Yeah,
could have ever did that, for Flair. Flair had an amazing career, man. Just watching, I won't say I watched Flair growing up because I wasn't around in the 80s and 90s, but just now, watching the old Ric Flair stuff, it's like, man, he was really the man. And when you
yeah.
have the man coming into the business like a Shawn Michaels, man, that's a great way to go out. So
You know, that's the thing. That match would have been a great final match for Flair,
yeah,
but unfortunately, Flair can't seem to let go.
no,
you know,
he ain't done.
and you know, and I mean, he's still talking like he feels like he's got another match left in him, but the man's 78 years old.
Yeah, man.
He has no business getting back in the ring again at this
Yeah,
point.
no.
But
Flair,
you know,
Flair. No Flair.
yeah. So and this can be present day or past. Who would be a dream opponent for you? Who would you love to have the opportunity to share a ring with?
In the past, I would probably go Jake the Snake. Like either Jake the Snake, Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, like those Owen Hart, like I would have loved to work them back in the day. Now currently, of course, Javon Evans, man. It's so crazy because I worked at Firestar and I worked at Firestar after he left. So it's just like I
Mhm.
didn't get a chance to meet him and have that one-on-one. But yeah, man, Javon Evans for sure will be one of those matches. Shoot. Uh Amazing Red. House of Glory, man. That would be the one of my top ones too. A lot of the people who I grew up, Rich Swan, uh, Alistair Black, just all those guys right there would probably like do it for me for sure. Like if I just had a dream match on that level. So yeah. So
Absolutely. So, what is your favorite move? What is something you just really enjoy doing? And on the flip side of that, is there a move that you won't do or you would at least rather not do? And that can be giving or receiving.
one of my favorite. So it's so crazy because for the longest time I was doing the 450. And the 450 I feel like is the most beautiful move ever, especially if you do it the right way, the momentum and you just, flatten out, come down. But I've recently got into the shooting star. So that's been, like it just goes with the gimmick. I felt like I needed to do that because it just goes with the whole Dallas thing. So shooting star press is one of my favorite moves now. A move that I wouldn't do is I would say probably like I don't even know, probably something in the air as well. I would say it's like a 630 senton. That I feel like that is crazy. Like I feel like that is crazy. Or a double moonsault. That is insane. I feel like that's one of the moves that I probably wouldn't try only because I don't know if the momentum gonna take me over twice. Like yeah, no. Yeah, that's
Right.
probably something I wouldn't do. Probably receiving a move. I can't tell you anything that I wouldn't take because, like I said, you got to have that trust within your opponent, like to have the move, the timing, and everything be great. It's one move that like I took that I was like I don't know about that one again, and that was the package power driver. Like now I see why they like nah I think that move's pretty safe, but because I mean at any given moment you can slip up, so I probably wouldn't take that again. No.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Yeah.
You know, as a fan, a move that I love seeing when it's really well executed, because to me it is really the epitome of collaboration and coordination with your opponent slash partner,
Yeah.
and that is the Spanish Fly. Uh,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love seeing that when it's done beautifully,
Yeah.
because I mean, it just seems like you really have to coordinate and time that so well for it to look good.
Yeah. Yeah. No, the Spanish fly is another difficult move that a lot of people do in the indies nowadays. But like if you do it the right way, the timing is right. Like just the momentum takes you over, whether if you're doing the backflip or the front flip. It's gonna look good, especially those ones that's off the top rope. Those are the ones that's the most sketchiest. But I feel like if you can pull that off, great way to do a double down, or a great way to just counter a move like that. A Spanish fly can be used at any given moment, and I think that's one of the coolest moves in the industry now. So
Absolutely. So, you're still a pretty young guy, so this may not really apply all that much, but I'll ask it anyway, and that is, what hurts right now?
ooh, every freaking thing. Everything, my back, my neck, my legs. No, I'm just playing. I would say, so I recently recently last year, around not this past year, not this past year that just passed, but the last year before that, I had a shoulder injury, which I'm still kind of like going through now, I would say. But yeah, my shoulder, I had separated my AC joint, and it was tough. Like it wasn't all like a deep separation, but it was slight, and it gives me trouble sometimes. But like some matches I go in with the KT tape, and a lot of people be thinking like, oh, that's a big target on his shoulder right there. Like, nah, it's literally like just because it's helping me help you. You feel me? So it's yeah, no, it's one of those injuries, but like I said, I'm always safe, man. Like I said, I don't try to complain about the small injuries because I have a freaking whole tube inside me. So yeah, no,
Yeah.
yeah, no,
So yeah,
I,
Goth, being over in the Netherlands, was just commenting that in his mind, Tommy End is the man, and I can't argue that, man.
yeah, man,
That guy's amazing.
yeah, man.
Uh,
Tommy and Alistair Black, whatever you want to call him, man,
yeah.
that would be one of the matches for me for sure. I love the freaking Black Mass. I feel like that's one of the best kicks in the freaking game. So.
Oh yeah, I used to love those moments where he would literally pick his opponent up with his foot, basically hold him in position, and then wham. I mean,
Damn,
yeah.
yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yep. So, knowing everything that you know at this point in your life, if
Yeah.
you could give any advice to your younger self, what would it be?
Well, it's even something that I'm working on now, and that's just patience, man. I would tell my younger self, just be patient. Be patient. Things are gonna happen, especially with the gift and the story that you have. Just be patient. Don't rush things. Let everything flow. Stay consistent, and just learn to live life and just love it. You feel me? Like don't take anything for granted because you're special, and you have a lot going for yourself, and you don't even know everything that's coming to you. But that's probably the advice I would give my younger self.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, in your wrestling career so far, what is the worst bump you have taken?
Ooh. 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 It's so crazy. So I actually did this spot where I act, and the crazy part about it is you take the worst bumps on your own spots. So like a wrestler knows that like you take the worst bumps on your own spots. And so I did this spot where it was a tag team match, and they basically was in the hot tag, and like the finish was me doing a springboard, like somebody else springboarding from the other side, and I'm
Hmm.
springboarding from this side, and like we meet in the middle for like I cut them out the air. So I cutted them out the air, and that was probably the hardest bump I ever took in my life. Like just to even get the timing down, I was like, wow, this works. But then when I landed, I'm like you took a hard bump when all the wind knocks out you. It's just like you take that one little gas. Yeah, no, I rode out. I rode out for sure. That bump sucked. It definitely sucked.
Oh yeah, and
Yeah.
you know that sounds like some of those crazy cutters that Javon Evans pulls off. I mean,
I wish. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go find that clip for you, Matt, and I'm gonna send it. So just specifically for you, like if you want to put it out, you can. But I'm gonna go find that clip. That was the worst bump I ever took in my life.
please do,
Yeah.
man. I'd love to see that. So, just kind of a quick rundown. What all do you carry in your gear bag, and do you carry anything unique or unusual in your gear?
So it's so crazy because last time I went to Orlando, I had brought the title with me on the plane, and I was that was my first time ever bringing a championship on the plane, so I didn't know how it would like go through TSA and all that. Um, I also had my cowbell, my cowbell that I come out with, and I normally always keep that in the bag. Of course, my hats. I got to keep at least two in there just in case if I'm not feeling one, I can, get the other one. And cowboy hats, man, they are shaped so crazy. So excuse me. So that was just like something that I keep in my suitcase. Of course, I got to keep two sets of gear just in case one rips, one doesn't do what it's supposed to do. I gotta have some tape. I gotta keep tape. Like you're a wrestler, you have to keep some type of tape. If you don't wear wrist like things for your wrist, gear wise, gotta keep some tape. Gotta keep some tape, not even for yourself, but for other guys in the locker room, because I know somebody in that locker room forgot some tape. So
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. So I keep some tape. I keep my KT tape in there. I keep my like clothes and like a short set or a jacket or a sweatshirt for after the match because I really don't like to stay in my gear after my match. I hate that. Like I really do hate that. So I normally keep that and a towel. Always keep you a towel. Wrestling
Oh
101.
yeah.
Wrestling locker room 101. You always keep a towel.
Absolutely.
So
So, something that we've done in all of these that's just been kind of fun is we've let the
yeah,
current guest pose a question for the next guest.
nice.
So my previous guest was actually a guy from the UK by the name of Louis, and he is actually the front man for a WWE tribute band out not far from London. And
Nice.
basically, their set list is pretty much composed of WWE walkout themes and other songs that have some sort of involvement with WWE.
That's what's
So
up, man.
the question that he posed is if you could have any artist write or record your walkout theme, who would you get to do it?
Travis Scott. Travis Scott is a big part of the WWE. I would say now. If I had to walk out to anything, Travis Scott would be the dream one. But realistically, I would say Kid Rock. I love me some Kid Rock, and
Oh yeah,
it'll probably fit with more of the country cowboy look. And yeah, that would be a big like thing for me if Kid Rock did my theme song. So that's a great question, by the way. That is an
gotcha.
awesome question.
Well, since this is part of a series, do you have a question that you would like to ask to the next guest?
Yeah, man. I've never done like I said. Hopefully, in the next 2-3 years, I can do an international show. But my question to the next guest is, if you had to choose any country to do a show in, what would it be and why?
That is actually a really good question. How would you answer that? What is your dream country to wrestle in?
London. London, England is my dream to go. I love strong style wrestling. I love the way they do things over there. Um, I've never been to the UK, and that would just their crowds are so awesome, man. Every time I watch a WWE live event, they go to London. Like it's always great. So I would probably pick the UK for sure. I love UK wrestling, man.
Gotcha. Well, you know, your question is actually pretty interesting because my next guest is actually tomorrow at 2 p.m. I'm actually having a guy back on the show that's been on previously, and his name is Jake Kobe, and he is actually Ukrainian, but
Hey,
he's right now living in Spain. And wrestling around, pretty much all over Europe right now. So that'll actually be an interesting question to ask him. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So we're getting pretty close to the end of things now. So do you have aside from the schedule that Chris came on and showed us, do you have any upcoming shows or anything at all that you'd like to give some hype to?
so I don't have any other shows like later on down the line, but I do have like CCP. Yeah, I have my schedule for CCP. I'm like I said, I'm in Georgia, so I know it's a lot of Georgia promotions out here that I want to find a home. I want to find a home that I can do the smaller shows in between my scheduling for CCP. But I get to start off the year January 31st, 2026, live from Maggie, Mississippi at One Division Pro Wrestling. And I'm facing their world heavyweight champion, Rochi Roach. And that is going to be a good one. That is the way I'm starting off my year, by taking on the champ and hopefully bringing home the gold back to Atlanta.
Nice,
Yeah,
nice, nice. Yep. Rochi was actually on the show not too long
yeah,
ago. So
no, I seen that.
yeah, man. That's going to be a quite the banger. Yeah, yeah. I think you and he can definitely make some sparks fly for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
So, well, as far as what we've got coming up on the Throwdown, like I said, tomorrow, Saturday the 17th at 2 p.m. Eastern, we've got episode 191, and this does see the return to the Throwdown of previous guest and friend of the show, Ukrainian wrestler who is currently residing in Spain, Jake Kobe. His career has actually really taken off on the European scene over the past year, and I'm definitely excited to have him back on and kind of catch up. And then on Sunday, the 18th at 1 p.m. Eastern, I've actually got episode 192, and this episode actually from the scene out in Oregon. We've got
Nice.
Naomi King. Actually, my buddy Stephen Colosi, who I've done quite a bit of collaboration with, actually put her on my radar and said that she's fairly new to the business, but is really making a big splash over on the West Coast. So, and I've had some conversations with her on Instagram, and she has been very gracious, and definitely excited to have her on.
Sounds dope, man.
And we're actually pretty much booked up through right now. We're getting into about the middle of February, and I try to announce appearances about a week out. So definitely keep an eye on my socials. But we've definitely got some cool stuff coming up. And for those of you that have been watching this live, thank you. For those of you that'll be seeing this on replays and such, thank you for that. If you like what we've got going here, definitely, go to our socials and do the old like, comment, share, and subscribe. And before we wrap this up, do you have any final words?
Oh man, just thank you for having me, Matt. This been long overdue. We've been waiting on this for a long, long time, and this was great. This was great. Like I told you before we started, man, the CCP podcast just set me up for this one. I felt cool, calm, and collective. Even though Chris Fathead came on here, and we this was great, man. I really appreciate you. Thank everybody who came up here tonight just to support not only Matt but myself. And yeah, man, follow my journey. And like I said, if you want to reach out to hear more about my story and what I went through as far as my career, my life, everything, like just reach out, man. I'm an open book, but don't call me out the 10 or I won't answer. All right.
Well, let me say this much, man. You have been an amazing guest, and you definitely consider yourself part of the Throwdown family. You're welcome back on anytime you want. So, if you got something you want to talk about, ping me and we'll make it happen, man.
Yes, sir.
I would definitely like to collaborate some more in the future. So.
Sure.
And, so I guess in parting, I'll just say, thank you for watching tonight. And until tomorrow night, not tomorrow night, but tomorrow afternoon at 2 p.m. Eastern with Jake Kobe, be good to each other.